Here is my 26-27 Premier League predictions. We saw how I done last year, not great, but this year we're going to try and do better than that. Start off with 20th place. I have Hull City. Don't think they've made a whole lot of strength into their squad. They're definitely the weakest of the three sides to cut, as shown by them just coming up through the playoffs instead of automatics, but I just don't think Hull are quite strong enough to stay up, and I've got them coming in dead last for this season. Moving on to 19th, we have Ipswich Town. Similar story, but I think they'll do better than Hull did. But I still just don't think they're good enough for this league. Their signings haven't been too bad. I think Maeda's a good signing for them, but yeah, I just don't think it's quite the levels of signings they need it to be to keep themselves up. But in 18th, I've gone with Coventry. Now, these are definitely the closest to staying up. Were by far the best team in the Championship last year. But does that mean they're going to be good enough to stay up? You know, experience last year, we keep seeing that teams that can really walk the Championship go straight back down. You know what I mean? So I don't know if Coventry are going to have enough to stay up, but I guess we'll find out. Then 17th, Newcastle United. I do think they struggle a lot this year, Newcastle. They've lost a lot of key players. I don't think they've replaced them well enough. I could easily see a world where their new manager gets a sack in October or something. They're struggling, but I just don't see them doing much. 16th. Now I won't really short stay here for these lot, but I've got Nottingham Forest. In my mind they could go down, or they could be challenging for Europe. Really no idea with Forest. Under Oliver Glasner, how do they do? Well, they've just lost Elliot Anderson. I know they've got some big money in there. I ain't really too sure on their new signings yet, so guess we'll see how as the season goes, how they get on. But I'm finishing 16th and one below Crystal Palace, who are 15th. Now, with Palace getting themselves new manager in after Glasner left them to Forest, could be good for them, might not work out too well. 15th, I think it seems about right. They'll have Europa League this season, so yet again they'll multiple games a week, and we saw last year they weren't quite below where they were a couple of seasons before, where it was, you know, they were up pushing relatively decent towards the end of the season under Glasner's first start there. So we'll see how they get on now. I've got them 15th. 14th place, Fulham. They are below up. I'm really not sure how they're going to do. All I know is their front three is now the Minions. They have Oscar Bob, Ross Stewart and Kevin. So when you've got Minions up front, it could be a decent year, could also go absolutely terrible. But I've got them 14th, mid-table. Also mid-table I have Everton. So for them, I think under Moysley, with no Europe they could do really well, but they could also just fall down a little bit. I think they started last year really strong, dropped off a bit towards the end. Therefore I just think they're just going to be there this season. Finish 13th, they'll do what they have to do. In 12th place, I've gone with Tottenham. Now the Spurs, they also had back-to-back 17th finishes, which they should really on paper I should put them to get relegated after that, but they spent a lot of money bringing in the likes of Tonali, Fernandes, two great midfielders. Also on threes getting Senesi, getting themselves Robertson, Premier League experienced players. I think this is going to be they should have a really good year for Tottenham, but however they do have a terrible record of injuries, so it wouldn't surprise if they get another injury this season. Therefore I think 12th, just sticking right in the middle of the pack should be alright. Then in 11th I've got Sunderland. Now I think they will drop off a bit after last year. Having the European nights as well ain't going to help them at all, but I do still rate their squad very highly, and I think 11th place, Sunderland. I don't know if they'll win the Europa necessarily, but I think they'll have a good run at it. And we'll see how they get on. But I think they'll finish 11th. In 10th, I've gone with a team also in Europe. It's Brighton. Now I do think they are going to win the Conference League, Brighton. But in the Premier League, I think 10th place. I don't know. Yeah, I think I'll be in Europe again next year, but only if we win the conference. So I think they quite make it this year. In 9th place, I have Brentford. No Europe, but I just think they're going to be right up there pushing for Europe this year. We'll see how they get on. I think Callum Wilson's going to be an underrated signing for them. We've seen him score goals at Bournemouth, at Newcastle, at West Ham. We know he can do it in this league. I think adding him to play back up to Thiago probably isn't a bad idea. But we'll see how they get on. I think 9th, possibly Europe, but yeah, I'm going to leave them in 9th place for now. In 8th place in the Conference League spot, I've got Leeds United. I think they're going to have a really good year, Leeds. I think Harry Wilson is a really good signing for them. But also getting James Trafford in goal, they are looking good outlet Leeds. And I think this year Europe will return to Ellen Road. I think they'll make the Conference League. In 7th place, I have Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth will have a really solid year. I know they do have Europe, and I think there's a good chance they win the Europa. But we'll see. In the league, I think they're going to be a pretty good side. I rate them very highly. As well, they haven't had the summer like they did last, where they lost all their players. They actually kept hold of a few this time. So with their signings coming in, I think they signed Silva from Benfica, centre half. Great signing, good young centre half. I reckon they could easily have a good year this year, Bournemouth. I've got them in 7th, getting Europe again. In 6th place, Chelsea. I don't think that team needs a lot of work before they get challenging for titles. But I do think Xabi Alonso, with one game a week, will get them into Europe, into the Europa League. Who knows from there how far they could go. They could maybe get a domestic cup this year. But for now, 6th place, Chelsea. In 5th, I've got Manchester United. Now, United had a good finish last year under Carrick. In a full season, they could definitely be pushing higher up in the league, but they haven't got a lot of their first choice signings. That's the crucial thing. So without them, who knows where they're going to finish? I reckon 5th. In 4th place, I think it's going to be Aston Villa. Going to remain in the Champions League spots. I do think they're a very strong side. With Watkins got to Saudi, one big loss for them. But as we come to Arsenal, another big loss. Which I started making these predictions before the deals started coming through. So, but oh well. I mean, we've seen in the Super Cup, they had a good play at PSG, lost 2-1, but at the same time saying that, Tottenham drew 2-2 with PSG last year in the Super Cup, and look where they finished. So, guess we'll find out how they do, but yeah, 4th place of it seems right. In 3rd, I've got Man City. I don't think Maurice has had a great start to the year. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he gets sacked and go through. But I think they've got too much quality to leave them out of the top, or really top 5 out of the Champions League spot. Too much quality in that side. Erling Haaland is always a joke in the season, so we'll see how they get on. But I think 3rd place for Man City, probably about right. But don't be surprised if Maresca gets sacked and they don't even make Europe Champions League. In 2nd place, I've gone with Liverpool. I think Iraola is a very good appointment. We saw what he's done at Bournemouth. He's a great manager. So this could be a really, really good year for them. Bouncing back from last year. If Isak and Ekitike are both fit together, that could be an incredible strike force. We know what they can both do. As well as that, Karen Kirky is back under Iraola. We've seen what they've done together at Bournemouth. Hopefully, for Liverpool's sake, they'll be repeating that at Anfield. But I guess there's nothing else for me to say other than the Premier League winners will be Arsenal. They're going back to back They've made some very solid signings, and that's all I've really got to say. They're going back to back. No one else, I don't think, quite ready yet to challenge them. So you should do this, and I believe they're the favourites for it as well. So there you are. Anyway, now moving on to the other bits of predictions. Top goal scorer. I'm going with Erling Haaland. Golden Glove, I think it's going to David Raya. Young player of the season, I reckon that will go to Mateus Fernandes. So player of this season will be Declan Rice.